Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the Wareham Conservation Commission. We will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and/or the Town of Wareham Wetland Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and all other applicable laws on Wednesday, February 7th, 2024, at 6 p.m. All matters listed may involve a discussion and possible vote. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetland Protection Bylaws, Division 6. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. And I'm going to ask for roll call. I'm going to ask to start with, yay, Denise. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yay, yay, yay.
Denise Schultz.
Donna Colbert.
Paula Jean O'Neill.
Autumn Wood.
Carol Melanson.
Sandy Slavin.
Kwame Barty.
Mike Mercier.
Joseph Still.
Joshua Faraday, Conservation Administrator,
And
and new dad.
a new dad. Well, welcome and thank you for coming.
No problem.
You can nap.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll head into the back room. You guys can go on without me.
All right, the first hearing up, please, Carol.
Notice of public hearing pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6. A public hearing will be held in Room 320, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass., on Wednesday, February 7th, 2024, at 6 p.m. on the request for the determination of applicability for Diamond Cut Development, LLC. That is that 2 Seahorse Lane?
No.
6 and 8 Acorn.
What is that?
6 and 8 Acorn.
Acorn.
Acorn, I gotta find it. My papers are all over the place. 6 and 8 Acorn. And where's the second page of this? Is it for construction of a two-family dwelling on a vacant and wooded property?
Yes.
Map 2, lots F3 and F4, 6 and 8 Acorn Street, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you. And who is here representing this project? Please come forward.
Good evening, Brad Bertola with JC Engineering. Do you hear me?
Brad.
We can.
All right, perfect. I've previously submitted green cards online, so they should be all set.
Yeah, I just got your email.
All right, so again, my name is Brad Bertola with JC Engineering on behalf of Diamond Cut Development. This is a vacant, approximately 12,000 square foot lot in Onset on Acorn Street East. I think one of the last undeveloped lots in this neighborhood. We are proposing to construct a two-family dwelling on the property. The current resource that is on this property is a flood zone, AE14. Just a portion of the property is in a flood zone. The grades on the property range between elevation 12 and 28. So we're proposing to construct the dwellings, or duplex structure, approximately in the center of the property, and install typical town sewer, water, and electric utilities. It's very similar to the projects just to the west, where very same situation. It was a vacant lot, and they constructed a duplex on a vacant property. I see that Josh is pulling that plan up. Pretty straightforward project. The structures will be built above the flood elevation in accordance with FEMA. And if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Josh, your comments, please.
I have no comments.
Questions from the board? Paula Jean.
I did go there and look at it, it's pretty steep, but that's not anything in our jurisdiction. And one sad little holly tree in the middle, I don't know if its number is up or not, because I don't know how to tell if it's a broadleaf holly, which is the one that's protected, endangered. So other than that, I have no questions.
Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
Carol,
No questions, thank you.
Kwame,
No questions, thanks.
Michael,
Paula Jean already addressed my issue with the tree. Other than that, I'm fine. No questions, thank you.
Joe,
None for me.
Donna.
Just forgive my, my naivete. Are you proposing to raise this house, to elevate this house like the one next door?
It doesn't need to be to that extreme. The grades on the right-hand side of the property are higher in elevation, so it'll be a full basement below grade. The grades will be lower on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, just the left-hand side, so it'd be considered a walkout basement. But looking at it from the front, it'll look like your typical two-story house.
So the left-hand side, do you have to fill anything in order to bring it up above flood zone? I know you're right at the edge of the flood zone there.
Yeah, so current grades are in the lowest point of the property, about 12. So just in that low point, we're bringing the grade up to about 15 and a half.
So bringing in about 3
Just a-
feet of fill. Okay, no further questions, thank you.
Denise, any questions? Denise, any questions?
Yeah, it's a two-family home, but it doesn't have a common wall. The only thing connecting it is what?
A covered deck.
A covered porch.
A covered deck.
Guess what they got around with that one?
Are they allowed not to have a common wall?
They don't have to have a common
that-
wall. They
yeah,
just have a
it's- I
connect,
guess
they just
it's-
need to be connected.
Connected but no common wall.
But I think that's a planning board question.
Right.
Right, Brad?
I was just a little confused when I was looking
Yeah,
at
it'd
the
be a
picture.
building department question. I brought that up to the property owner, and with it being a grandfathered lot, he's under the assumption that he's exempt. But if it does need to be common, I believe the covered deck would disappear, and the two structures will just marry together.
So they'll get larger
It just-
then,
No, they'll just slide together.
slide
and-
together, okay.
Yeah, so just it'll end up being on a smaller footprint than what's shown, or same footprint, just smaller area.
Slide together, okay, thank you, Brad.
Yep.
Is there anybody online or in the audience who'd like to speak to this project? None?
Not at this time.
Josh, your recommendation?
-3 and a -5.
Motion to close the hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? I think we're 600. Right?
Yes.
Motion to, did you say 3 and 5, Josh?
3 and 5.
Motion to accept this project with a -3 and a -5 determination?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye, opposed, abstain, 600. Brad, you got it, don't do any work until you get the paperwork from Josh.
Understood. Thank you for your time.
Next one, please.
This is a request for determination of applicability for the United States Postal Service, 25 Toby Road, Wareham, Mass. 02571, to improve existing parking lot conditions, construct new asphalt paved parking lots for electric carrier vehicles and employee parking. Map 87, Lot 1000C, 25 Toby Road, Wareham, Mass.
Is there anybody online or in the office, in the room that would like to speak to this project?
Sandy?
I'm sorry,
They are joining via Zoom.
okay.
I just want to say really quick here, before we begin, that location for the former U.S. Postal Service of mine, Postal Service rather, is a former employer of mine for an extremely short amount of time, and I just want to say none of my comments here reflects or influence my
Okay,
time there.
thank you.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Brett Nealon of GM2 Associates in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I am here representing the project today.
Okay, Brett, can you do me a favor, spell your last name for our minutes?
Nealon, N-E-I-L-A-N.
Thank you, and would you like to talk to us about this project, please?
I can, yeah, I'll go over it very briefly. The USPS has an initiative to roll out electric vehicle charging stations as part of their carrier fleet. Wareham is selected as one of the first in the country, at least in the new Northeast region. So, Josh, I believe you have the overview plan, might be the third sheet down. And you can see on this plan, yeah, that one. You can see on this plan the electric vehicles as well as the parking lot expansion for the personnel. Primarily, it's within a grassed area. There will be some demolition of woodlands. By our knowledge, there is no wetlands on site or within approximately 200 feet of the property lines. At that time, I mean, I can open it up to conversation, and might be better as like a Q&A going forward.
Okay, Josh, your comments?
Yeah, are you tying the stormwater drainage into the basin that's already located in the corner of that lot?
That is part of the intent, yes. We've done some preliminary calculations to do so.
Okay, and I know there's quite a bit of elevation into that. You don't see there being an issue with the increase?
No, and if we do need to do anything, we may entertain dry wells. There are dry wells throughout the property existing, and that basin at the top right of your screen actually has 3 subsurface dry wells, as well as about a 8 to 10 foot differential change in that basin.
Understood, thank you.
Color-coded. Which ones are electric?
Excuse me, blue and pink are electric.
Blue and pink are electric. So there'll be charging stations at every one of those parking lots, parking spaces?
Not every one, they will be dual chargers. So it's a charging station for every 2.
Okay, then what's the green for?
The green are a different type of carrier units. This is how the USPS would like things presented to them, and that's where we have the plans.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll ask questions. Paula Jean?
I did walk around there. It was just sad to see that much more grass cover, even if it was just grass covered, to see more pavement is gonna replace more viable land. But I understand the project, and I did look at the drainage basin and wondered about that, but that's been discussed.
And it'd be nice if the drainage basin will allow us to refill our water table, and the dry wells, if they're used, will have the same possibility of refilling our underwater water tables as opposed to going down the street. Yes, okay. Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Carol?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thanks.
Michael?
No, the drainage basin has already been discussed, so I'm good, thank you.
Joe?
No, it's nice to see USPS get the electric cars out, but no comments from me.
Donna?
No questions, thank you.
Denise?
No questions, thank you.
I will miss the sound of my carrier going by me. There's a noise that's just unique to them, so I know my mail has been delivered. Anybody in the audience or online that'd like to comment on this project? Okay, Josh, your recommendation?
Can you go ahead and close the hearing while I look something up real quickly?
Whatever you
And I will give
have
my recommendation,
will
right?
not, it will not interfere, it will not affect our discussion or anything. Okay.
No.
All right, motion to close the
I
hearing?
have a motion to close the
Second.
hearing. I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 600. The hearing is closed.
My recommendation is gonna be a -4.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, -4. It's done. Brett, you are approved. Before you start any work, get to Josh and get your paperwork, okay?
Understood, thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Next one, please.
This is a request for a notice of intent from Michael Trojano, 15 Granston Way, Wareham, Mass. 02538, to remove and replace approximately 38 feet of existing footing toe protection at the base of the existing boulder seawall. Remove sections of the deteriorated concrete wall, steps, and cap, and replace them in kind. Map 5, Lot 1003, 15 Granston Way, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you, and who's here representing this project?
Good evening, Brian Grady, GAF Engineering.
Okay. You're up.
Thank you. I don't know how many of you were able to make it out to the site to view it. I was able to meet Josh there and discuss it with him. I don't know if he has the plans or any photographs of the site he can bring up. So this is an existing seawall, and we're looking to perform some maintenance on it. It's a fairly old seawall, and there's some erosion occurring at a portion of the toe protection. So what we're looking to do is do some demolition to remove the damaged concrete and replace it in kind with basically what you see we're going to replace there. There's a short section of vertical concrete wall, which will be capped with a concrete pad. So there's a photograph of the damaged section of the footing, about approximately 38 feet of that. What we're looking to do is, we have a contractor already on board. Ernie Alden will be performing the work, and we are asking as part of this application that we access this site along the beach with a small rubber track excavator to assist in the demolition. That would probably only be for one day to access this site, not this portion of the site, that's the other end. This portion of the site to do the demolition, break up the concrete, and prepare it for the work. So that would probably be just one day needed for that. And then the other section, the photograph that was just up, as you can see, this section's deteriorated a little bit as well. So what we're going to do here is extend the face of the existing wall and remove this portion of the concrete and the steps and restore the beach. So this is mostly demolition with a little bit of replacement of the existing wall and the concrete cap in this section. This will be done by hand labor. We can't access this with any machinery, so this will all be done, this portion of it will be done by hand labor. The staging area will be the existing driveway at the top of the slope, and they'll be pumping concrete down to the site. All demolition concrete chips will be removed by hand. Probably 5-gallon buckets be brought up to the site for disposal. And again, everything, all the staging area materials will be utilize the existing driveway at the top of the slope. And that's it in a nutshell. If I could respond to any questions, or if Josh has any questions.
Josh, any comments?
I know that before my time, the commission had taken a hard stance on, machinery within the resource area. I don't think this is one of the instances where it's gonna have a negative effect on the coastal beach. I'm just not sure how you guys previously had voted on things prior to my arrival. So my only comment would be that I think there are times where, machinery within the resource area to work on seawalls doesn't make sense. This isn't one of those times. I think a rubber track machine makes sense to do this work.
We could indicate that it's only at so many hours above and below high tide, low tide, sorry. We need to access low tide.
Yeah, the contractor will have to pay close attention to the tide and the weather forecast to try to get a stretch of good days favorable for tide and for weather.
You can get the machinery down to the beach?
Yes, it would come down the end of Cleveland Ave, There's,
Cleveland and all that way, so we'll come,
yeah, there's a couple of seasonal piers which are currently out of the water, so it's easily accessible now. Mr. Giuliano has spoken with the property owners who have the beach in front of that, who have the properties in front of that beach. They have no objection.
so the docks are gone, so you.
Docks are gone now, they're seasonal, so we're hoping to get their work completed before they get back in service.
All right, there will be work from wetland side, water side? In your note, you said that you would be doing some work from the ocean side.
Well, the machinery on the beach, that'll be the only machinery. Everything else will be hand labor.
Or brought in over the,
While the staging area from the top, they'll be pumping concrete from the staging area at the top, yes.
thank you. Okay, Paula Jean,
Well, beautiful piece of property, spectacular. My big question was, I don't know how much a rubber-tired excavator, small excavator weighs, but I was thinking of it going along the beach, and I didn't know where you were gonna put in, how far, how much distance, but shellfish habitat.
No, it'll be in the upper beach. It won't be in the, interfering with the tidal
But the
flats.
tide was there, I think it was near high tide when I was there, and I didn't really see any little holes to indicate clams, but I don't know if we need to know, or if Josh thinks that is shellfish habitat between where it puts in at Cleveland Avenue all the way down and along that, there's quite a stretch of wall.
Right, as long as they stay
That was
close
my-
to the wall, it won't interfere with the tidal flats at all.
Okay, that was my main concern.
Yeah, and it's a discussion that we had out on the site, was to hug the seawalls all the way down. I don't even think within low tide it would be an issue for shellfish habitat, but.
Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
Carol,
No questions, thank you.
So the material that you're using for the seawall, that's all going to be cement, you said?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
do the demolition, then the vertical portion of wall will be formed up, concrete poured in that, that'll be cured, forms removed, and then they'll form up the concrete top.
Because when I was reading it, I didn't see that. I think, I forget where I was last time, they were using the steel foldings as form of support for seawalls. But maybe that's something that's a different type of environment.
Yeah, this is more toe protection than a wall, so we're just matching kind of what's in kind and exists already.
Thank you.
Michael,
I have no questions, thank you.
Joe.
On the parts that you're demoing on the wall, how much of a dredge are you going to be like taking sand out of there? Is it more of just?
We think they shouldn't, the walls, that the vertical section of walls shouldn't be any more than 3 feet as far as what we're going down to do the demolition.
Okay.
And we'll only remove the sand in front of that wall as necessary to do the demolition and to form up the new wall. So it shouldn't be maybe more than 18 inches, 2 feet in front of that wall at most.
Okay, and I imagine you guys are going to grade it back when the
Oh, yeah,
new wall's in?
it'll all be restored, yes.
Okay, all right, no further questions.
And if any of you got out there now, we're in the winter, so it's probably a rocky beach. That beach will come back seasonally.
Donna,
It's a little bit following perhaps on what Joe was asking. Could you please explain more about the 60 square feet of coastal beach that in your proposal, it says that it will result in the addition of approximately 60 square feet of coastal beach, and that there'll be some backfilling. Can you explain that a little bit further?
Yeah, I don't know if you can bring that picture back, Josh, of that other end.
Yeah, let's see here.
Yep, we passed it.
This one?
No, the other end with the steps,
Oh,
the far
sorry.
end on.
This one?
Yep, okay. So that area here, what you see, the steps and the broken concrete, that's all going to come out. And what I'm talking about in there is that will become beach. So,
Oh, so it's not going to be replaced at all, that pit?
no, that's all coming out and will be restored as beach.
Okay, thank you, I understand now.
Denise.
The replacement wall is going to be in the same footprint as the
Yes.
old wall? It's not taking any more space, moving any
Correct,
forward?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
There are some stones that are breaking apart. Will they be re-cemented together?
Yeah, we do mention in the narrative that the the voids in the vertical wall, we're going to repoint all those.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody, Josh, your comments? Did I ask already? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anybody in the audience would like to talk, speak to this project online or here? Your recommendation, please.
To issue or approve the project, issue our standard order of conditions with our standard conditions. And then I would just add, the use of a small rubber track excavator. And if any sand is required to fill the void from the removal of this landing, that the like material should be approved by the conservation administrator.
I can't write any faster. All right,
Motion to close the hearing?
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor to close the hearing? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 600.
Motion to approve this project with standard order of conditions, with the additional condition of if any sand should need to be added to the site, it'd be of like kind. What was your other one, Josh?
And approved by,
And approved by the conservation agent.
and that a small excavator be allowed on the beach.
And that a small excavator be allowed on the beach.
I think that was the motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. You're approved. Again, see Josh before you start any of your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, our next hearing is a request for notice of intent from Michael and Lena Dancy, 2 Seahorse Lane, Wareham, Mass. 02532. The applicant proposes to demolish a cottage, construct a single-family dwelling, to install a septic system and associated utilities, to construct a formal driveway, to widen the existing gravel road, I'm assuming that's roadway, and to fill and grade partially within a 100-foot buffer zone of a bordering vegetated wetland and within land subject to coastal storm flowage, flood zone VE elevation 20, map 52, lot N1B, 2 Seahorse Lane, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you. And who's here to represent this project?
Madam Chair, Dave DeVignan from Schneider DeVignan Leone.
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
And you are?
Leanna Dancy?
Michael Dancy?
Thank you.
They are
All
both
right.
the applicants and owners of the property.
And you're up. Please explain the project.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. We've, on behalf of the Dancys, we've filed a notice of intent and the accompanying plan, as you see on the screen, for the redevelopment of their property. The property is known as 2 Seahorse Lane. There's an existing cottage, which was constructed approximately in 1930, according to the assessor's records. It's a ground-level cottage in need of replacement. Their proposal is to remove that cottage, demolish the cottage, place it in dumpsters, and dispose of it, and then build a new single-family dwelling in the same general footprint with a slight expansion to the west of the property. The proposed dwelling will be located within a velocity zone, so it will be constructed on a concrete column foundation to meet both FEMA Mass Building Code for construction within a V-zone. The velocity zone that they are in are elevation 20. Therefore, the bottom of the beam will be constructed at elevation 22. The finished slab grade is set for 9.7, slightly higher than existing ground level that's there now. The current cottage is serviced by a cesspool located in the front of the house. That will be pump dried and removed and replaced with a Title V septic system consisting of a Norweco Singulair denitrification septic tank, followed by a pump chamber and then a bottomless sand filter. So the system is pretty much state-of-the-art of what you can put in. There's limited space on the site, so it might be the only septic system that actually fits on the property. Part of the project requires, or the proposal is to obtain from the abutting property a piece of land that actually doesn't show up on the assessor's maps. The maps show that this lot abuts Cremisa Road, but in reality, based upon survey data, there's a strip of land that is sort of in no man's land, and our land surveyor has determined that it's owned by Donna Gully, who owns the property to the north and to the east. She's agreed to convey that property to the Dancies free of charge outside of legal fees to do that. And in the process, that requires us to convey the land through an A&R process. My partner, Matt Leone, who's a professional land surveyor, prepared a survey plan, an A&R plan, went to the planning board, and the planning board did not want to sign the plan unless the road was brought up to a minimum spec that they considered adequate for passage. As you can see on the plan, this is 2 Seahorse Lane, and further to the east is 4 Seahorse Lane. So the existing road, it's a 35-foot wide layout, but the actual gravel road is somewhat between 8 and 10-foot wide, and services both houses. So we're proposing, from what we're told, to, at a minimum, widen the road, the gravel road, to 20 feet wide. And we've extended that past the property line so that access can be provided to 4 with Seahorse Lane with the wider gravel driveway, roadway. So that's actually part of the project as well. So we're proposing to sum things up. We have a wetland line to the east, considerably to the east. It does cascade a partial buffer zone into the property. The southeast corner of the house does fall within that buffer zone, and deck that we're proposing on the east side, as well as a staircase coming towards Seahorse Lane, also falls within the buffer zone. That wetland line was flagged by, we believe it was flagged by Brad Holmes for the septic repair for 4 Seahorse Lane, which we're not involved in. We had LEC Environmental go out there and continue that flag line so that we can create the buffer zone and know how much of the project is within that buffer zone. My understanding is there are no wetlands to the west of Cremisa Road or the south of Seahorse Lane. That is the totality of the limits of wetlands. The entire site does fall within land subject to coastal storm flowage, as I said, and it's VE elevation 20. So the house would be serviced by a water service connection to an existing water main, which is located in Seahorse Lane. There's a water gate just to the southeast of the existing house. So we're simply going to put in about 20 feet of water line to connect to the existing water shutoff. Site grading, there's very minimal. All we're showing is a 9 contour around the east side, just basically to level the area around the finished slab under the building. We are proposing to remove an existing shed that exists, which actually straddles over the lot line of the parcel that they're going to obtain. Primarily, all of the septic will be on that parcel they're going to obtain, and well outside the 100-foot buffer zone. For dewatering, we're proposing a ring of hay bales or a double ring of straw wattles, should we need to dewater. We are proposing a crushed stone formal driveway. If you were to visit the site, you'll see there's really no formal driveway. It's just a grass area in front of the house. I think that's a summary of the project, and we did receive a DEP file number. There were no comments, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Josh, your comments?
The commission has made it common practice to require dry well for any increase in impervious surface for new projects. Is it possible to get a dry well somewhere on the property to capture the roof runoff?
Yes, we can certainly do that. On the east side of the house, there's room.
Okay. Another concern that I have is, when are you gonna be through with the zoning board? The commission's kind of made it a point not to approve, projects where multiple landowners are involved that don't have a sign off from that landowner.
Well, our thought process was to request a continuance tonight for 2 weeks so that we can get a decision by the planning board that what we're proposing for road upgrade is adequate at a minimum. My thought was to get a Concom-approved plan before I went to the Board of Appeals.
Okay.
All set?
I think so, yeah.
Questions? Paula Jean?
I was there, and it looked like, you know, everywhere you go, the rack line is up closer to roads and closer to houses than ever before, and it looked like it was coming up fairly far, but it looks like the new dwelling is gonna be set closer to the road than the existing. Right, so it'll get you away from the water. I did observe 3 canoes and a kayak. It was hard to tell if they were kayaks or canoes, a couple of them inverted, out on the marsh, and there's a wooden walkway out in the marsh. I don't know if that's with your property, but
No,
I think that's,
that's the abutting property for Seahorse. Yes.
okay.
We're the first house in on the left. As you
Well, I
can-
know which house, yeah. I didn't, it was kind of in between. I don't know whose stuff it was, but I was just gonna mention it.
The kayaks.
Thank you.
are ours.
Hmm?
The kayaks that are out on the beach are ours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are our kayaks. They were actually up higher until
Oh.
the last storm, and now they got pushed back into the marsh.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be at least 30 feet
Oh,
back,
At some point, at the next,
yeah.
when the marsh isn't flooded, we're gonna get down there and just
Yeah, it
pull
was
them back
dry. I
up,
mean, I walked
bring
right
them back
down
up to
past
the
that.
house.
Autumn?
It got moved.
You're lucky to still have them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it got moved along with the very large cement block they were attached to. They kind of floated away.
Autumn?
Yes, so this is a big project. I was wondering where you intend to stage and store materials throughout the duration of this?
We will be using the lot that we obtained where the septic's proposed. The construction sequence would begin with the installation or construction of the foundation. So they'll use that side for stockpiling materials. And once the footings are in and the pedestal's brought to grade, then they can backfill, and that area will be available for the continuation of work. The septic will actually have to go in last, so they can walk their way out of the site, because it is very tight.
Okay, thank you.
Carol?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
Nope, the dry well's already answered, so thank you.
Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Joseph?
None for me.
Donna?
Always happy to see a cesspool disappear and have a denitrification system in the septic, so happy to see you doing that. And I have no other questions, thank you.
Denise?
The shed that's listed on the property, that's already there? It's not a proposed new shed?
It's already there, but it's being torn down.
So you're removing the shed?
Shed will be removed.
And then how do you deal with a cesspool?
Pump it dry, and then excavate out the perimeter of the cesspool, whether it's blocks or some sort of precast
Will you be
structure.
removing any soil around it?
It's possible, yes.
You'll test to see whether or not it's contaminated?
Yes. They'll have to dispose of it in a proper manner.
The Board of Health will be involved?
Yes, they will. They're supposed to witness decommissioning of septic systems.
Anything else, Denise?
No, that was what I needed to know.
Will you be doing anything under the house? Will you be parking your cars there or anything like that?
Yes, we propose to park under the,
So it will be a solid concrete block under the house? or gravel under the house?
We are proposing a concrete slab.
Will there be any other material connecting all the pylons for breakaway or anything like that, or just be all drive-through, wash-through, whatever, what's the term for it? You're not going to be put up,
Breakaway panels?
yeah,
I believe that we have mentioned that. Did you intend to put breakaway panels?
We had talked about it, but I'm not sure if it would be appropriate because the house, it's going to be a modular home, and it's going to be, what, 12 feet up there?
22 feet high.
Well, it's 22 feet
22 from...
above sea level, is that what you mean?
Elevation 22.
Elevation from the land.
So,
Well, no, that's relative to FEMA.
Yeah.
The ground level is about 9.5.
So you'll be going another
It'll be up there about
13?
13, well, 12.5 to the bottom of the beam.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if, and on something that high, you would put any breakaway. We talked about it, but that's kind of, well, for us, it was kind of in the future a little bit, so.
Because if it is, that we would definitely require some type of way of securing them, so if they broke away, they didn't float away.
Float away, okay.
Yeah, okay, just, is there anybody that'd like to comment on this project, online or in the audience? And I hear a request for a continuance,
Yes,
because
Madam
we'd
Chair.
like to see the dry wells on the plan.
We will add roof runoff recharge system to the plan, including details. And I'm not sure when the planning board meets between now and your next meeting. So there might be a tight window where we submit the revised plan. I'm not sure if it could be the day of the next meeting. I'm not sure if that's appropriate.
I think they're 2 Mondays out. Didn't we just have planning on Monday? So 2 weeks out?
I have planning board meeting on the 12th.
On the 12th, this is the next planning board
Okay,
meeting?
Excellent.
Then-
That leaves us time to change the plan and resubmit.
And we're on the 21st
Okay.
for our next meeting.
So we'll ask for a continuance to the 21st?
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely. Madam Chair, the applicant would like to ask a
Yes,
question.
so we were planning on doing a good bit of gardening once everything kind of settles down. And I'm not sure how much water would be running off the roof. We were planning on doing the containment barrels to save the water. Does that make it, I don't know if that makes any difference to you in terms of the dry wells as, as a plan?
well, I'm sure if you want rain barrels, there has to be, yes, Josh?
what I would say is your plan to do that is all well and good, but say you decide to sell the house, that doesn't really help us at all.
Then they take
What you could do is install the dry well and then divert the gutter system into a rain barrel collection system after the fact. But, we can't base our decision off of what you wish to do
Right.
versus what may actually end up happening.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
My rain barrel overflows frequently. I mean, there's
I've never
just,
used them before, so I'm not
Oh.
really sure what it's going to be like.
depends on the amount of water we get.
Yeah.
But, yes. So we have a request to continue till February 21st. I need a motion. Thank you.
Continue till February to 21st?
Yes, I have a
Second.
motion, and I have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. See you on the 21st. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Next one, please.
This is a notice of intent for Ronald and Susan Schmidt, 15 Narrows Road, Wareham, Mass. 02751, 02571, I'm sorry. The applicant proposes to demolish a cottage, construct a single-family dwelling, install associated utilities, to construct a formal driveway and fill and grade within the 100-foot buffer zone of various coastal resource areas and within land subject to coastal storm flowage. Flood zone VE elevation 17. map 39, lot 1000, 15 Narrows Road, Wareham, Mass.
Thank you. Who's here representing this project, please?
Madam Chair, Dave DeVignan, Schneider, DeVignan, Leone, representing.
Ron Schmidt.
And Susan Schmidt.
Thank you. Did you happen to plan this, Dave, to be both on the same night? Well done.
I try and consolidate so that I'm not out every night of the week.
Back to back, too, not bad.
I know.
That was,
Okay,
that was
Dave, you're
luck.
up. Please describe the project.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we are, on behalf of the Schmidts, we have submitted a notice of intent application together with a site plan for the redevelopment of this property. The property has a very small cottage camp type structure on it. We're proposing to remove that cottage structure and replace it with a formal single-family dwelling. We are located also within a velocity zone similar to the last project. This project is proposing to construct a very small house, 2 stories, up on driven pile foundation in this particular case, to minimize the excavation that would happen on the site. So we're proposing to construct the dwelling in compliance with FEMA and Mass Building Code for a velocity zone. The structure is located within a velocity zone VE 17, so the bottom of the structural member would be set at 19. The finished slab in this particular case would be elevation 8. The dwelling would be serviced by municipal sewer and water, as well as gas. Unfortunately, although there's a sewer main right in front of the property, it's a high-pressure main, so we're proposing to run the sewer down the shoulder or between the pavement and the sideline of the southerly side of Narrows Road down to an existing gravity sewer line located at the intersection of Oak Hill Road. The same for the water. There's water in Oak Hill, but there is no water at this location of Narrows Road. So we're proposing utilities to be run both parallel with each other, again, to Oak Hill Road. Electric would be connected to a pole in front of the property by underground conduits. And there is a gas line off the shoulder of the road of Narrows Road that we'll be connecting to for heat. We are proposing a deck to the south side of the building and westerly side of the building where there'll be a staircase for access. The secondary access staircase would be within the existing, with the proposed footprint that we're showing. We are showing some grading to just simply level off the site to elevation 7. We're showing erosion control around the entire limits of work that we're proposing. We are proposing mitigation for a couple of trees that have to come down. We're proposing to plant 3 trees along the westerly side of the property. And this property does have a curb cut off of Narrows Road, but it, again, it's similar to the other one where it doesn't really have a formal driveway, so we're going to try and create some parking that would be practical to park up to 4 cars for overflow parking with a back out area so they can safely pull back out into Narrows Road. The gravel right now, the driveway is just a single lane that kind of comes into the property and you have to turn around in the grass area. This project, we are proposing a roof runoff recharge system to the west of the house. We are completely within the buffer zone of various coastal resource areas. We have a salt marsh to the southwest of the site, and between the salt marsh and the existing lawn area, occupied area, there is a coastal beach with sparse, very sparse beach grass throughout. There is a coastal bank along the west side of the property, which coincides with that existing channel. And when you look at the buffer zone from those resource areas, as well as a BVW located across the street, the buffer zone is on the abutting property to the east So pretty much everything in that area is within a buffer zone of something. And again, the whole site is within land subject to coastal storm flowage. So that's a summary of the project. We have received the DEP file number, and there were no comments, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Josh?
When we talk about the buffer zone to these resources, I would really like to see an updated plan that shows where our 30-foot no activity zone lies to those resources, and just the remaining buffer zones as well. The current cottage that is located on the property, does it have electricity, water, sewage of any kind at all currently?
Electricity.
It has electricity, but it's not connected to the municipal water, therefore it doesn't have sewer as well.
Depending on where these buffer zone lines end up laying on the property, there's potential that you're upgrading this within our 30-foot no activity, I believe. Unless the site plan that you have, does it depict them at all? Or can you scale them out?
We are slightly within the 30-foot of the limits of beach grass that we surveyed. The coastal bank, we are within 30 feet, but we're proposing within the existing occupied area.
Okay.
The area is currently lawn from the top of the bank all the way to the beach grass.
Okay, and then the gravel drive falls within that area? Or no?
Yes, it does.
It does. The commission has, taken a pretty hard stance about activities within that 30-foot no activity zone. And I don't think it's something that they would entertain approving. So I think an updated plan, showing those resource areas would help the commission, better determine what they're making a decision on.
Okay.
Questions around Paula Jean?
Oh, I was there. It looks like the high tides come up to like the second step of the existing building. And is the new house going to be on the footprint of the existing building?
We are over the footprint of the existing, and the house itself is actually pulled further away from the resource areas. We're pulling it to the northeast as far as we can, as far as setbacks to.
Yeah, there's not much room. It looked like, to me, they were already gonna be in the water at high tide, and then I walked around there. I didn't pace it off or anything or measure it, but, the rack line, the seaweed is all the way up to, on the majority of that lot. There are numerous boats. A cute little Hobie cat is easily within the 30-foot zone laying there. It's just like everything there is already almost in the water.
Well, we surveyed the high water, it's elevation 1.8. I think what you're seeing is a rack line is due to the storm events that we've been getting.
Right, which we're getting more of all the time. Who knows, in 2 years, unfortunately, the road might be underwater. It's moving. Well, those were my thoughts, that it looked like, almost like it's building on the beach.
Autumn, questions?
Yes, I do have a couple of comments. In the updated plan, I'd like if you could just point out the vegetation that's being removed. It looks like there's a couple of trees here that will need to get, just moved so you can add the building. I do see that you are proposing to add a couple of trees, so that is nice to see that there is some replacement there. I do notice that there is an existing fire pit that is close to some wetlands. I'm not sure if that will continue to be allowed, if it's too close to the wetlands in a zone that we don't allow that. And then with this building, we do want to be careful with how we manage the erosion controls, because you know that it is affecting some habitats. So, if it does move forward, something to just be mindful of is how you're managing the erosion of materials and where you're staging.
Carol?
No questions at this time, thank you.
Kwame?
No, Adam already spoke about the erosion control. That's what I was really concerned about. So I guess we'll have to wait to see the updated plan where everything is going to fit and lie. But there's going to be a little tight squeeze, I think.
Michael?
So far, a lot of my issues were the 30-foot no activity zone, number one. But number two, it is a very, very tight area. You got a house on one side, you got the water on another side, and you got Minot or Narrows Road behind you. Where do you plan on staging all the construction equipment or getting it in and out during this process?
We'll utilize the area that we're proposing, the driveway, for the, we have a rectangular area from the existing stone slope, if you will, which parallels Narrows Road, down to where we're showing dewatering pit, and between wherever we'll end up moving that hay bale line from where it's proposed, probably squeezing down the driveway and cutting it in half. We'll use the west side for the staging of equipment. We're proposing to drive, the design has been put in place by the general contractor to have driven piles. So we won't need to excavate in order to put the foundation in place. So the crane would be set up to the west of the house. And once all the piles are driven, then the crane will be removed, and we'll have that area for our staging and stockpiling.
Okay, and I imagine the construction equipment will not be staged there, it'll be brought in overnights or and whatnot?
I'm not sure I'm clear on the question, I'm sorry.
As far as like construction equipment, where will that be stored? Will it be stored there, somewhere else? Will it be brought in? That's, I guess.
I would imagine it would be stored at the highest part of the lot, up at elevation 6, 7.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Joe?
Following up on Autumn's question, how many trees are you guys actually cutting on the property?
We actually located the trees.
I see them on there.
Yeah, to the northeast corner of the house, there's a twin tree that'll be cut, and then where the proposed deck is, there's a tree right there as well.
Okay, so just about two, and the same two you're proposing to put back on the property, just in a different place?
Yes, we're proposing 3, and we figured along the coastal bank to the west was what makes sense.
Okay. No more questions, thank you.
Donna?
I visited this property, and I have a number of concerns about the project. I drove and parked my RAV4 at the top of the bank right before the steep driveway going down, and it just fits my RAV4 just barely. There's not room for 4 cars there. You'll be filling undoubtedly in order to create a space for 4 cars there. Is that the case with the fill? Will you be filling that space in?
Yes, we are proposing to grade the site up to elevation 7.
Okay, and then the tree, a very large tree that's in the northeast corner, is undoubtedly stabilizing the bank with its roots to number 17 dwelling. It's quite a steep slope. There's an embankment there before the next house. The removal of that tree, I suppose, could be destabilizing that bank for the house next door. The storm surge, the evidence of storm surge is all the way up to the roadway by the existing channel. All along that area is seaweed all over. And the seaweed goes to the back, the northern edge of that cottage, which looks a bit more like an old boathouse than an actual dwelling. To me, when I was walking around that property, the whole property looks like beach. And with sea level rise and things changing over the years, I have concerns that this wetlands the salt marsh is gonna wanna creep in, and everything you do around that house is gonna be in the 30-foot no buffer zone. Numbers of concerns about this project. That's all, thank you.
I was taken back by the number of items left around the beach area and on the lawn. I'm not sure what some of these are. I can see, Hobie Cat, yeah, but big structure that is just sitting on the grass. Surprised that it wasn't pulled back out of, up onto the upland. But my question for you, is there a lateral for this property for the sewer?
There is no lateral off of the high-pressure force main in front of the property, no.
But you're not going to the force main, you're going to the Oak Hill line.
Yes.
But there's no lateral for this property.
No, there is not.
You're aware there is a moratorium on sewer, and this
Yes.
has not come before the sewer commissioners yet for approval.
Yes, we are aware. There is another caveat to the sewer. The house next door, 17, they are connected to the high-pressure main. Our understanding from talking to Guy Campina is they would like them to not be connected, but they can't force them to disconnect and run a line to Oak Hill. And this project would solve that problem by, we're showing a connection for their force main pipe into our force
Are
main
you aware
pipe.
Guy is no longer at the sewer department?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm aware of that.
I'm sorry, I asked the question. I'm a sewer commissioner, so this is bothering me because it hasn't been approved for connection. And with the moratorium, I have no idea when it would be allowed. But you need to come before the sewer commissioners and talk to us about this project. Because I'm not going to ask Jack to redo his line, Jack being the house next to you. Yeah.
He wouldn't have to do anything under our proposal. My client has spoken with him, and we would simply, with his permission, cut his line and connect it to our line, so there's no change in what he has going on. It would just then disconnect it from the high-pressure line.
And you'd be going down the town, going down the strip of land between the road and the sidewalk?
That's correct, yes.
Town property, right?
Yes.
All right, I do have concerns. What is holding up the camp, the cottage now? What's the material holding up the cottage?
Is it a block foundation?
Wooden pilings.
Wooden pilings.
Wooden pilings.
yeah.
Oh, there's a
I'm s-
photograph.
So they would be removed, they're not in the ground,
They're a little ways in.
a little ways in?
Not
They would
driven.
be removed and they would be replaced with a single-family home up on 19 feet off the ground?
The other,
17?
the bottom of the beam would set at 19.1. The ground, existing ground is approximately 7 at the northeast corner, so that would be your differential. It would be 12 feet up.
Okay. Now, the proposed parking area, are you going to be right up against the riprap?
Yes,
Any disturbance of that? But you'll take care of all that vegetation and root systems will all be removed
we will be excavating up to the riprap.
up to the riprap?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience?
Wait,
or on-
Sandy, I didn't get a chance.
Oh, Denise, did I miss
You
you?
missed me.
I should have caught the orange. I'm sorry. Your
I'm
turn.
bright enough over here, aren't I? I just want to make the people aware of the fact that we do definitely need to see the 30-foot no-activity zone, and that this commission is very firm with our 30-foot no-activity zone.
Yes, and that includes the drainage coming out. Is it Frog or Eel Pond? Which one is that? What's the name of that pond on the other side of Narrows? That's all right, not everybody knows it. But it is a drainage channel that comes off the pond. Yep, yeah, your 30-foot no-activity zone would be very interesting, including the, where the trees will be replaced. So, anybody on the line or in the audience like to comment on this project?
Not at this time.
Okay. We're going to, no, we're going to continue. We need a new plan showing our 30-foot no-activity zone and the placement of where the replacement trees will be for the ones that are coming down. Am I missing something, Josh? Nope. Can you have it done by the February 21st?
Yes, I can.
Well, you're coming back to us anyway.
Yes.
All set. Motion to continue till February 21st, 2024?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? See you then.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. We have a continued hearing from Prime Engineering, 37 County Road.
So, I believe I made an error and we actually had already continued that to February 21st. I confirmed with the applicant, and if we hadn't confirmed that already, the applicant is fine with continuing to February 21st. And at that meeting, you will have revised plans from the revisions of the planning board. This is also a project that the commission requested a peer review of. So I have reached out to our peer review consultant, and they should be starting the peer review. So they may not, they may come to present on the 21st, but we may not have our peer review report back by the 21st. But we'll see how it goes.
All right, and I just checked my notes from that meeting on the January 17th, and I have it continued to the 21st also.
Okay.
Okay,
Motion to continue till 21st?
no, it's already done,
It's already done, all right.
already done. The next hearing is Faring Hill LLC.
And then I think this one was continued to tonight. I think this is where my error took place. This
Yes, I
one
had a
was
note to continued until tonight.
This one was continued to tonight. The applicant requested a continuance to the 21st.
Now you can.
All right, motion to continue till February 21st, 2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to continue until the 21st of February. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, we're continued. The next one is Russell McKinnon at 28 Nelson Street. Anybody here representing this project? Please come forward. And identify yourselves.
How you doing? I'm Jason Youngquist from Outback Engineering.
Bill Bayshant from Bayshant Builders.
Okay. We were to get an updated plan. Did we get one?
Yep, and I will present that on the screen now. So,
And I did some digging, and I did find your lateral. I apologize. It was hidden in the paperwork.
And I showed up on time. Just wanted that for the record.
Extra points.
Okay. Is this the one dated December 21st? No. Was there another one?
So that's the original, that's the date on the plan, and then there's a revision date in the revision block for 1/26.
January 17th?
Are you trying to find it for us, Josh?
this is it. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing. My fault. I thought I was sharing my screen.
We'll let you slide, sleep deprivation, we'll do this to you.
There you go. So this is the revised plan dated January 26th.
So from our last meeting, there was concerns that we were proposing to increase the size of the dwelling. And the commission had voiced concerns on that, so we've gone with the proposed reconstruction of the existing cottage to be the same size, same footprint, same impervious coverage as that existing cottage. And then again, it's getting raised up on pilings, up out of the flood zone. Flood zone's elevation 14, so it's gonna be up above that. We also show the intermittent stream that's in the tree line to the south of the property. And know that was a request, and that's just flowing through the wetlands from one wet area to another. Then we also added on the 200-foot hour riparian line from the Weweantic River. You can see that, so we're approximately 250 feet away from the Weweantic River, top of bank. And that was a question from one of the members. And then, as you just mentioned, there was the sewer stub is there and the water stub is there. So this house will be connected to that. There's no proposed grading or filling going in. It's just gonna be, the cottage is gonna be reconstructed, raised up on the pilings to get out of the flood zone. And the driveway would be turned into gravel. It's grassed right now. It's just a grass access way that would be made gravel through the buffer zone. And this will prevent rutting from happening. I know it's, if you go out there now, there's rutting in the grass access way from somebody driving out there.
Is there a 30-foot zone? Am I not seeing it, the 30-foot line? I see an edge of a marsh.
The 30-foot buffer zone line?
Yeah,
The whole lot's wetlands.
yes, it is.
It's all lawn, but it's wetlands. So the 30-foot zone is actually off the property, so we didn't bother showing it.
It'd probably be somewhere where my cursor is.
Okay,
Probably
okay.
around
So we can't put it on the existing footprint because they built it on a right-of-way. So they have to
Correct.
move the house on the full property.
We're gonna pull it back onto the property. Before, we had it more to the south and the east. The commission was concerned that it was getting a little too close to the salt marsh, so we pulled it closer to Alfred Avenue, closer to the existing footprint,
Okay.
and then pulled it to the north to get a little bit farther away from that intermittent stream that runs down to the tree line over there.
Josh, your comments, please.
The proposed gravel drive, well, some people do make an argument that it would allow for water to percolate. It's, as soon as you drive on gravel for long enough, it's as dense as concrete probably, and it would just end up washing off. It's within our 30-foot no activity zone, which we wouldn't allow anyway. And, the location of the house, still you pushed it to the east instead of trying to straddle the property line. You pushed it into the wetland even further, not further than your original proposal, but further than what is currently existing. You're outside of the 200-foot riparian, which is one thing the commission was looking for. Normally in terms of projects within a wetland, you look for, some type of replication of the wetland. That's impossible on this site. There's literally no upland to replicate in any way. And is the proposed house appears to be bigger than what's existing. Am I missing something?
No, they're both the same square footage.
Just a different layout?
Yep.
And the proposed deck is in addition to, that would be increased impervious surface from the,
Well, the deck wouldn't be really impervious. It's slats, so water's gonna go through it. Plus it's 10 feet up in the air, so it's not an impervious surface that's gonna be increasing runoff on the site.
those are my comments.
Questions? Start with Paula Jean.
No questions, thank you.
Autumn.
Could you please come back to me?
Carol.
No questions at this time.
Autumn. Sorry,
Oh, you're
Kwame.
funny.
Josh, this will be one of the sites that we're probably gonna be using these signs, maybe, possibly.
Signs for,
I
to
know.
identify wetland resources. We
I
can
mean, it is-
identify the edge of what's already there, but
Right.
I think it's pretty obvious that what you have is
That's
entirely
what it
wetland.
is, right.
We, yes, If anything, I would use our wetland resource signs to identify, what is cleared currently versus, to stop further expansion.
Right.
Yeah.
No other questions, then.
Michael?
It just doesn't seem, it just doesn't seem like we're just, it seems like we're still knocking down a house. And while we did push it into where the current one is a little bit, it still seems like we're also pushing a lot towards the water, even with the deck. It just doesn't seem like there's still some changes, but not a whole lot either, kind of what was already addressed. Other than that, I just have no other comments. Thank you.
Donna?
I don't know, the whole thing is in wetlands, I have no questions.
Denise?
In one of the letters that we received, it states that the revision depicts the footprint as 29 by 18, but the Wareham Assessors Database shows it as 22 by 16. Have we verified that it is actually 29 by 18 and not 22 by 16?
The existing?
The existing.
Probably some of it fell down.
Some of it fell down. Sandy.
We've gone out and surveyed in the existing house and its location and size from actual survey. We could add a surveyor stamp to the plan if you'd like.
Will you agree with your number versus what the assessors show? Assessor probably doesn't show the extension of the cottage, the porch.
Okay, so the porch is missing?
Well, I don't know, I haven't seen the outline coming in from the assessors, but there's the house and then there's a porch, all
Okay.
done on, looks like 4x4s.
So we did receive a few public comments.
Yes, we have.
Here we have.
May help explain what the assessor's map is showing.
The comments, I believe they were here at the last meeting and we read them.
We have had additional since.
We've had
And if you
additional
would like,
since.
I can read those into the record.
Is this the one, let me finish going around.
Wait, I have another question. I thought it was my understanding that if you alter the wetlands, that you have to replicate 2 times what you alter.
And that's why Josh is saying there's no place to replicate it, because there's no uplands.
Right, so we're in the wetlands, they're gonna alter the wetlands, but they're not going to replicate anything.
They're not going to replace the wetlands that are disturbed.
So we're not gonna alter them. It's going up on pilings. The lawn's gonna stay lawn, so we're not
You got a driveway coming in.
at grade, and it's gonna still be the wetlands. Most of the driveway's outside the wetlands, but until you get to the exact house.
But
You
it's,
drive on that crushed stone, it's going to sink into the dirt.
It's
and
going to become grass.
It's going to become, it won't stay stone.
It won't, it'll be grass is gonna be.
It will be depressed into the ground because, yeah,
But it'll give it
everything's
a-
so wet.
It'll give it a base. What we're trying to prevent is rutting, the rutting of the vehicles driving on the grass.
Denise, anything else?
no, just that I'm concerned about the replication of the altered wetlands and the information that we received from one of the people down the street about flooding on their property.
Yep, but I will have Josh read that into the record. But
Okay.
Autumn, you wanted to come back to you?
Yeah, thank you. I was just crunching the numbers on the 18 by 29, and that meets the same square footage as our original plans, as the current house, so that was all. Thank
Okay.
you. No questions.
All right.
Yeah, you think you forgot me? I had no comments, but I mean, it's,
He doesn't want to be forgotten.
I
No,
know.
no.
You're not wearing bright red.
not wearing orange. Can't get the highlight.
Sorry, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really in the wetlands, and with that gravel going in, it would sink into the ground, just being so wet, so.
And I have no idea how you're going to put a sewer line in when you're going to be installing it in water, but that's another issue. Josh, you want to read that comments, please?
Yep, so, one, we have a comment from an attendee in the Zoom meeting, and I'll read that one first. Says this area is prone to flooding, at least on Alfred Avenue. I am concerned that significant buildup will just become washed out and cause further damage to the wetland beyond the damage caused by the construction. My understanding is this area cannot add more sewer hookups, and septic would cause further damage. So that was a comment we received in the actual hearing. And I will pull up a few of the comments that we received.
There was a letter from January 29th. Did you get that one? From Paul and Samantha Roy?
That was January 16th, 24?
No, January 29th, they sent another one.
Well, if you got one, I never got Paula and Samantha's second email.
Let me see.
I only got the one.
I think I have a newer letter from Samantha. It's Samantha Roy.
January 16th.
I think this might be the one that, yes, thank you. This is the one that I'm about to read. Okay. So, Samantha and Paul Roy, after receiving the revised drawing, 12924 of 28 Nelson Street, I imagine they mean 126. For the 28 Nelson Street project, we give the notice of our concerns for numerous reasons. The footprint should not be expanded. The revision depicts the footprint as a 29 by 18, but on the Wareham Assessor's database, it shows a 22 by 16. The new drawing expands the footprint by including what is not deemed as conditioned finished living space, i.e. the 6 by 16 square porch space and the 5 by 7 utility storage space. Utilizing 22 by 16, the correct original footprint of conditioned interior finished living space is critical to deter flooding and safeguard the wetlands and streams, as it allows for more soil absorption and protection. The 5 by 7 utility storage is needed for an elevated exterior entrance staircase. 2, move property north 10 feet to higher ground away from the bordering stream. Wetland and vegetation, given more ground surface hydration, especially to low-lying abutters. Topographically, this is less invasive road entry point, reducing the length of the entry road while not driving into the lowlands. Staying high on ground allows for less low land compaction and less disruption, giving the stream and wetland protection downstream. The property should move a maximum of 6 feet east instead of 15 feet. 6 feet would give an additional wetland security and remove the structure from the easement of the paper road. Hydrologic study and stormwater study should measure compaction with ground use along the roof line, water mediation to low-lying downstream abutters. Beyond notice, as stated in the previous letter, this will cause flooding and erosion on my property. The low-lying stream and low-lying lands will need flood erosion measures to protect my property. Water mediation systems are necessary to reduce flooding. These include a rainwater filtration system with contamination filters, a slow release retention pond, a dry well or mechanical pump system. A detailed drawing of the water mediation plan is expected. Additionally, native water-absorbing trees and shrubs can be planted north of the stream on the south of the structure for soil retention, filtration, and buffering. For bank stabilization, biologs, native vegetation, evergreen plantings, and wooden logs are necessary. The stabilization method is structurally stable, supports wildlife habitat, and is biodegradable. The Wareham Conservation Commission is a pivotal organization to protect us from flooding. This is accomplished by property managing developments in our stream and wetlands. Building in the wetlands and streams is detrimental to all. Thank you. And then we received another letter from one of the abutters. So this letter is from Eric Boyer, Director of Field Operations of the Wildland Trust. They have an abutting property, I believe it's to the north and the east. It says, to the Town of Wareham Conservation Commission, I ask that this letter be put into the record for the Conservation Commission meeting as an abutter comment to the proposed project at 28 Nelson Street. I am the Director of Field Operations for Wildland Trust, Inc., a Plymouth-based nonprofit organization serving 52 communities across the southeastern Massachusetts region, including Wareham. Our Karen Marshland Preserve directly abuts the site of the proposed project by Russell McKinnon located at 28 Nelson Street. And as an abutter and one of the region's most active environmental organizations, we have multiple concerns about the proposed project's potential environmental impacts. For some background, in 1975, we were gifted the 1.3 acre property located on Rose Point from Leon Karen to be protected in perpetuity for conservation. Karen Marshland is primarily salt marsh, one of the most productive ecosystems in the world, with frontage on the Wee-Wee-Antic River. We are honored that the Karen family elected to entrust the preserve to our perpetual ownership and stewardship. With this history in mind and our imperative to defend the ecological and aesthetic integrity of our preserve, we wish to express our concerns about how a proposed project would adversely affect our preserve and the ecology of the larger area which it sits. For the following articulated below, Wildland Trust urges the Wareham Conservation Commission to deny the proposed project at 28 Nelson Street. And then it goes on to main points. Expecting for portions of the proposed roadway improvements, the entire project is within the BVW. The proposed roadway is within the buffer zone. There is no proposed replication of altered wetlands nor any other mitigation. Under the Town of Wareham Wetland Bylaw, Section 7, Section 5, 2, Permits and Conditions, to prevent wetland loss, the Commission shall require applicants to avoid wetland alteration when feasible, shall require full mitigation. The Town of Wareham Sewer Commission has a moratorium in place since April 2022, disallowing new sewer connections. The structure proposed is 552 square feet. The first drawing claims the original structure is 552 square feet, but the assessor's field card for the property shows the original structure at 352 square feet. The new proposed deck is 12.1 feet from the wetlands and exceeds existing footprint as it sits in revision. The project plans do not show the limit of work nor the limit of disturbance for raising the existing structure nor building in the proposed structure. Project plans do not show the limit of work nor the limit of disturbance for the roadway improvements nor water or sewer hookups. The extent and limit of the yard is not shown. Will lawn be constructed? The proposed foundation is pilings, driven pressure-treated wood or poured concrete. Will the pilings penetrate the wetland soils to a depth of load-bearing material? Thank you, and respectfully, Eric Boyer. And then I can show, let me see here. I can show what the assessor's card has. I can zoom in on this if. So this is what our current assessor card shows for the building layout. And I believe that is the extent of public comments.
Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to comment on this project or have additional comments on this project? So the purple there is the extent of the dwelling. The pink is the porches and the stairway. If I read that right?
I think the 5x7 is a utility closet, or
If you scroll up, you can see it on the picture. On the right-hand part of the building.
Oh, yep, I see it.
All those windows, that's the
Porch.
porch, they're calling it, but obviously it's all part of the structure, all part of its impervious footprint.
Okay. Anybody online?
not this time.
Anybody in the audience? Has anybody who has been out to that project, raise your hand. Josh, your recommendation?
I mean, based on just the roadway alone, it's within our 30-foot no activity and should be denied on the basis of that. I would say you're gonna have to go in front of zoning anyway, so if you're moving it 15 feet to meet one of their requirements, you're gonna require variance anyway. I don't ever see Alfred Avenue as becoming, it definitely won't become a actual road in terms of conservation. So I think holding that property line is kind of a moot point for zoning. But, you know, the recommendation from us is,
So we could certainly move it closer to Alfred Road. We're just trying to meet, you know, the comments from the last time, but, you know, we have it 15 feet off that line, but if we want to move it, you know, 5 feet off that lot line, push it 10 feet to the west, which would put it, you know, almost exactly on top of the old structure, just be rotated and, you know, lined up a little better, so that would put it all, excuse me, 5 feet onto the property.
Well, I guess we'll give you a chance to give us a new plan. You've heard the comments.
Again,
'Cause
it's not an ideal situation, but,
If you were to move it further north and you don't, then you can cut down the size of the driveway.
it would, but, you know, then we're hitting that tree, getting closer to the marsh. I know the previous comment was to get farther away from the marsh.
Yep, no matter where you go, you won't get far from the marsh.
So we're just trying to find the best situation to address the commission's concerns.
What if we just moved it within 5 feet of the road? Would that satisfy everybody?
That, you'd have to go ask zoning.
Well, they're definitely sending us here first, so this is step one.
Okay, then give us an updated plan and let's see where you are with it. Okay?
Okay?
And a hint, if you put a sewer line in the water, you'll need a grinder pump. Just a heads up. Okay,
so someone did comment online, they asked if the sewer hookup issue has been resolved. It's really not
the,
the purview of our board.
it's not with, but I will, as a sewer commissioner, indicate that if a lateral is found, then it was already considered, its gallons were part of our usage before the moratorium, so this is no new flow because the lateral existed. It's not a new hookup like the previous dwelling that we discussed was, to answer the question on the board, from the comment. All right, so can you come back with something on the 21st?
Motion to continue till the 21st?
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. One more shot at it, fellas.
Thank you.
Next one, the amended order of conditions. Finally, Danny Warren. Yay. Is he still there? We have an amended order of conditions. Oh. Why are they back in front of us? Yeah, come on, Bill, come up and
Square-
identify.
You want to
identify
square off
yourself.
additions.
Huh?
They want to square off additions to the existing building,
Oh, that's right, too, he wanted to put the building
construct an
closer.
office.
No, he was moving his pavilion closer to the walkway, right?
There's a bunch of things listed here.
Okay, so,
I need to talk to you tomorrow.
is it right?
We can share.
I'll share, comment, I will share. Thank you.
Pass one down. I'll share with Carol. Okay, Mr. Madden, identify yourself, please.
Bill Madden, UAF Engineering, here on behalf of Warren QO ZB LLC at 59 Main Street.
And if I recall, you wanted to move the positioning of the pavilion from the last plan, right?
That's right. I think we went over most of the changes previously, but when Danny was discussing a little bit, he indicated that there was a desire to move the pavilion, shown on sheet number 3, to move the pavilion a little bit, in sheet 4, move the pavilion a little bit closer to the end of the bulkhead, parallel to the sidewalk that runs along the Wareham River. So this plan reflects that building being moved. It's about 20 feet more to the east, shown as 35.5 feet thereabouts from the sidewalk that's at the back of the parking lot. The other things that we talked about were the squaring off of the small little square off in the back of the building, another small square off in the front, and the enclosure for the dumpsters.
The anti-seagull closure.
The anti-seagull and other enclosure, correct. And then we also showed the Connex box further to the north over by Bessie Park. And I think that a comment was brought up relative to the landscaping, because it was mentioned that we wanted to have a linkage between Bessie Park and this facility. So what we did is there was a cluster of 3 hydrangeas that was located in that area, and all we did was remove those from the landscape plan to provide access from Bessie Park into this facility. So those were the changes that came about during the previous meeting, and we were asked to indicate these on the plan, which we have done.
Thank you.
That's pretty much it.
Josh, comments?
No comments.
And the flagpole, that's correct.
Oh, yeah, there was a flagpole.
We show where the flagpole is located. It's just, you'll see there's 3 circles. The way it's intended to be set up is, I think that the desire was to place like 2 wooden piles on each side of the flagpole, through bolted, so there's an ability to lay the flag down, maintain the pulleys and what have you. So that's what the intention was there. So that's why you see 3 circles as opposed to just
I'm
one
trying to
set
see.
circle for the flagpole.
As it says here.
Okey dokey. Josh?
You get a determination on how tall the flag can be?
Flagpoles are exempt from the height restrictions in the bylaw.
There you go. I have no comments.
I'll go around. Paula Jean?
No comments.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Harold?
No questions.
In the
Kwame?
pavilion.
Thanks for hanging out. No questions.
Michael?
I'm good, thank you.
Joe?
I still would like to get the Danny Warren tour of the building too, but no questions from me.
Was it, I'm sorry?
I'd like to get the whole grand tour someday on this.
Anytime, both of you, you didn't show up. It's better.
Well, next Wednesday.
There's a lot more done anyway, so it's a good time to show up.
Donna?
No questions.
Denise?
I'm just reading this here, and I know I wasn't at the last meeting, but it says place a 5-foot by 40 Connex box?
Yep.
What is that?
The Connex box is is this rectangular,
And what does it do?
Like a freight box, a freight.
like a storage container,
Oh,
but it's going
all
to
right.
be used, if you're familiar with, let's say Cisco in New Bedford, there's a series of Connex boxes they have in their waterfront setup down there. This is going to be similar to that. It's going to be intended to be used for some food service within it.
It's portable, so when a storm is coming, it will be moved out of the floodwaters.
Well, I know down in Cisco, they have those food trucks. So,
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
just-
what this-
Well, I think they have a cooking truck,
Yeah.
a bar, and a music venue.
Right.
And then 2 other, I think they sell retail products out.
correct,
But this one would be solely for food service.
food service,
So
okay.
there are utilities that are provided to that building. So we have water, we have gas, and we have sewer connections to it. So when he does have to move to due to a storm event, all those utilities will be able to be shut off, not allow any flood water to enter into them.
Okay.
So the provisions are in place to protect the utilities.
And one thing I'd like to point out on that too is,
To the mic, please.
thing I'd like to point out, we are saying it's a Conex box because it is a Conex box, but we've spent a lot of money on it to make it look like a carriage shed. And we put
So it's going to
steel-
look nice.
Yeah, it's gonna look very, very nice. I thought I had a picture I could show you, but
That's all right. Okay. Anybody, any comments online or audience?
Oh, it is nice.
I want to congratulate Danny Moore and his company. Wankinko is done in Swiss Beach. Well done.
never to haunt us again.
I know it's a sewer issue, but anybody who lives down at Swiss Beach or anything else knows what a project this was. Thank you. All right, any other comments? Anybody would like to, nothing else? Then, you ready to close?
Make a motion to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. Your comments, please. Your recommendations.
So it would be to approve the amended order of conditions with our standard conditions and any conditions that were attached to the previous order of conditions.
So moved.
That's the motion, so moved. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? You're done.
Thank you.
So are we gonna see you next month with some more revisions?
Mary,
We'll keep taking your money.
Mary will kill you. Honestly, that's a promise.
I know, she was on me pretty bad today.
Yes, she was.
I
No
just wanna
more,
go there
Danny,
and
you're
have-
done.
I'm done.
You're
We're
done.
not letting them do any more.
Vision box, it's already out of the title block.
Thank you, everybody, for putting
Thanks
up with
very
all
much,
of it.
though, for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We have a enforcement order. Josh?
Wednesday? Love to go.
Oh, Candy Street, another one. What do they seem to like to do bad things down there?
Apparently. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of the best way to pull this up. I gotta share my screen too. So the enforcement is for the construction of retaining walls within the 100-foot buffer to a coastal resource, and it's also within the 200-foot riverfront area. Let me share my screen. See if I can. Okay, so. So, in my review of other projects down there, we drove by this lot that had, a lot of construction equipment at it. And on further investigation, it looks like they're building a retaining wall, doing some grading, and, probably installing a patio of some sort, within the buffer to the.
I would say no approval.
Right. So I did send out an enforcement letter, certified mail. It was received. I haven't heard anything from them yet, but they did sign for it. So what I'm looking for tonight is for the commission to,
Ratify your,
ratify the
yep.
the enforcement. So, I could show you some more photos, but that pretty much wraps it up.
The ratification is just to acknowledge that he has the authority to do what he did, and we accept it and approve it, that he did the right thing.
What
Correct?
happened? Is there anything that happens with fines or anything?
Hopefully, there'll be, not until we have a hearing.
Okay.
So, the enforcement is gonna require that they come in with actual permitting. It would be, I would say after the fact, but I would say it's permitting within the fact. So we would have the double filing fee, and the fines that usually are associated with this type of work.
So,
Do we issue like cease and desist orders so that they don't go ahead and keep working on this while we're waiting for them to come before us?
Yes, we can. Yep.
I mean, they've got everything on site. They obviously didn't care enough to do it the right way.
and shame on the contractor.
Yep,
Chances
so,
are, they'll just continue on and come when they get around to it.
right, the dock is questionable whether it's licensed or not. The storage of the float is, definitely not appropriate where it is. It's tough to say if this retaining wall down here is something new or something that was existing. I can take a pretty good guess, but, so there's quite a few enforceable actions on this property.
Wasn't there a big pile of sand stored on there too, in the driveway? Leaking through the side of the house?
Yeah, there is erosion on the property as well. You can see it here. And, that's not surprising by the storms we've had, and especially if they're driving construction equipment down that side of the house to, construct their retaining walls. So, if the commission likes, I can go down there tomorrow and put a cease and desist on the door. The few times that I have been by the property, no one has been there, so they may be doing it on the weekends. I don't know. This project, where I went and took photos, it's not being completed very quickly, so it might be, someone doing it on the
So
weekend.
there's no building permit either.
I would imagine not. I didn't see one, no.
We don't know who the contractor is. Stop giggling back there.
So, we're just looking to ratify the enforcement order tonight.
All right,
Motion to ratify the enforcement order?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Please give them a notice saying no more.
I can put a cease and desist up
Yes.
tomorrow.
Now, I never saw the January 17th minutes.
I think we were working on trying to get all the documents that are used in the hearing listed in the minutes as well.
Added at the end of the minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so, I may have to start pushing out when we actually approve minutes
Okay.
to make that, more streamlined, but.
The next thing I think we have on our agenda is the emergency certification White Island Pond Dam.
Someone join.
Is there anybody online for that?
I have someone who's raised their hand.
Oh. Should have brought them on earlier before we did our own stuff.
Hey, how are you? My name's Dan Hammerberg. I'm with Time Bond.
May I have your name again, please?
My name is Dan Hammerberg. I'm with Time Bond, representing Mass Wildlife. I believe we have Steve Hurley, who's an aquatic biologist for Mass Wildlife in the Southeast District, on, and then Dan Buttrick, who's a project engineer with Time Bond as well. I'd like to thank the commission for putting us on such short notice.
All right, talk to us about what you found.
So between January 8th and January 17th, the left retaining wall collapsed at White Island Pond Dam. I believe a couple of the commission has been to the site and seen the collapse. So Mass Wildlife saw the wall collapsed on January 17th, and we were on site with Office of Dam Safety Friday, January 19th, inspecting the failure. And we discussed it with Office of Dam Safety. Office of Dam Safety then issued an immediate action dam safety order on January 24th. And we have been working quickly to put together design plan and line up a contractor and get the necessary permits with the help of Mass Wildlife to get this work done as quickly as possible. So I can go into a little bit more about what happened at the wall. So as it exists now, it is a dry laid masonry wall. The collapse section is about 31 by 30 inches wide. That is by the spillway area. As of right now, last time Steve was on site, the spillway was not discharging water, which is typical for this time of year. So all the flow is traveling through the fish ladder, which we anticipate that will be the conditions when we are on site to do this repair. The soils behind the wall generally consist of loose, fine to medium silty sand. That was based on our site visit and matches borings that we've taken on the site. This dam is slated for repair. We're working on phase 2 right now, which we'll be submitting to Office of Dam Safety soon, and that is going to talk through different rehabilitation options. And then downstream, Red Brook, that's slated for rehab soon. I believe Mass Wildlife is putting together a bid to put out for proposal at the end of this year. So work is going to happen here, and it's going to happen soon. So this repair would just be to stabilize the site until we can get in and fully rehabilitate the dam, along with restore Red Brook below it. So the repair that we have proposed and that our contractors bid on is we plan to remove loose soils, excavate back loose soils, place geotextile fabric over the repair to stabilize the surface, fill in the void with stone. So that's 1.5 inch crushed stone. So since that is non-erodible. And then on top of that, we are going to place 2 feet of 2-foot diameter riprap at a 1.5 to 1 slope. So that's going to be about 7 feet into the spillway discharge area. And so that will stabilize the slope until we can finally get in and fully rehabilitate the dam. So we have a contractor lined up to do the work on Friday, this Friday, if the commission is okay with us proceeding. We have received an approval from Mass DEP. I believe that was last week. I have a date for a minor modification. So we received that from Brendan Mullaney, of the section chief of the Waterways Regulation Program, on January 30th. So we're eager to get this work done. I think I didn't say that the disturbed area, that's going to get 4 inches of loam. It's going to get seeded, and then an erosion control blanket is going to get placed over the disturbed area. The contractor can't drive large construction equipment over the fish ladder or the spillway for just loading reasons. So the only material that's going to get dumped on site will be the riprap, and then he'll pick up that riprap with a small cat and bring it over to the site and place it. Everything else is going to get pulled right from his truck, which he's going to back up to the dam through those 3 gates. So we're looking to have as little impact as possible because it's such a sensitive area. I believe our impacts are going to be about 100 square feet inland underwater. And so, yeah, that's the plan. Does the commission have any questions?
Josh, comments?
So it sounds like there's quite a bit of work, sorry, thank you. It sounds like there's quite a bit of work that's, expanded upon other than what you're looking for, in this emergency certification. You're gonna come back with some type of filing for that work?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, not to cut you off. So the only reason I bring that up is because we're looking at this as just an emergency repair. So we haven't completed design plans yet or started the permitting process for the White Island Pond rehab. So we will be back in front of you, hopefully within a year and a half or so, to talk about the full rehabilitation of Adams Pond Dam. Of White Island Pond Dam. Got a lot of dams going on with Mass Wildlife these days.
Understandable. So the emergency certification doesn't nullify the requirements of any of our local applications. Are you planning to come back with a filing for this work as well?
For this work, so putting together a filing for the emergency repair after it's completed?
Correct.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
That wasn't a part of our plan, but we can do that.
An RDA or an NOI? An RDA? An RDA?
This is Dan Buttrick. Thanks, Dan, for talking that through. So Dan is correct. We hadn't planned on doing that kind of a filing under the local bylaw. We could talk about needing to do that. So we haven't talked through. We haven't looked at local resource areas or talked through what sort of filing that would be. But we can research that and get back to you if it's something that you think is really necessary.
The commission can determine to waive our local filing.
Well, okay, so we can say we don't need an RDA for this. We will take the documentation we have for the emergency repair. Is that what I'm hearing? We can waive that? Okay. Any other comments before I ask the board?
So as far as the emergency certification, I can read through, what work will be allowed. It's probably very identical to the work that was proposed.
Okay.
I didn't change what was proposed, so, the work that you would be approving would be that. For the end date, you can give them 30 or 60 days. You could give them 30 days, but it sounds like they're going to be doing it a lot sooner than that.
Sounds like they're going to be doing it Friday.
It sounds like. Other than that, those are my comments.
All right. Paula Jean.
Yes. I have no comments.
Autumn.
Oh, will this work be completed in one day, or will this be a multi-day project?
The contractor just told us 1.5 days. He really would like to get it done in one day. We want it to be done in one day. Doing work, having it go over the weekend is not ideal. So in his bid, he said 2.5 days. On the phone last week, he told me 1.5 days. So we're hoping it will be that 1.5 days.
Okay, for the work that is being performed, how are you preventing any of the sediment from spilling into the water?
So luckily, we are not going to have a lot of flow coming through the spillway. So soil that does fall in is going to be minimal because they're going to be pulling back the slope and excavating away. And material that would be falling in would just be sand. So they're going to be careful. And anything that does fall in is going to stay in that localized area. And then it will be covered with 2-foot riprap.
Okay, thank you.
Carol.
No questions or comments. this time.
Kwame.
No comments, thank you.
Michael.
No comments, no questions, thank you.
Joe.
None for me.
Donna.
No questions.
Denise.
None for me either.
And realistically, this weekend,
Well, you're lucky it's not snowing at 60 degrees. It's certainly easy to be worked.
perfect weekend to do that kind of stuff.
So we're looking at approving the emergency request, the emergency certification, and to not require there's another word for it. And we would not require an RDA for the project. Is that the right wording?
Require local filing.
Thank you. We would not require local filing for this emergency repair.
So moved.
Second?
I'm not supposed to make a motion.
Oh. Well, if I so move, that's a motion.
Okay, then there's your motion, okay.
You second it. So we
Second
get
it.
person
All
second.
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Okay, so the gate will be unlocked Friday sometime if I want to come down and take a peek.
Absolutely. Office of Dam Safety is going to be out on Friday as well, so
Okay.
it'll be well attended.
Last
I think the
time I was
contractors
down, I was
plan-
very pleased to find the the fence had been ripped apart so I could crawl under. So
Nice.
if you happen
Yeah.
to have cameras in the area, I'm sorry for what you saw.
Yeah, funny.
We're done. Thank you.
Thank you very
much.
Anything else?
Have a good night.
I think I want to do an update on the bylaw.
I have a few other agenda items to
Okay.
attend to as well. Would you like a bylaw update?
Just that we had another meeting.
The team that we assembled to attend our bylaw revision meetings met with our consultant this afternoon. We are continuing to talk about the revisions of the bylaw, but we also have started to talk about new, DEP guidance and wetland regulations coming down from the state that will probably meet some of what we're looking to revise in our bylaw. I'm not saying that in terms of we should not revise the bylaw. I think that's still very important. But with the new regulations coming out, it's going to have a huge impact on our bylaw as well. You want me to go into depth on, our actual conversations of the bylaw, or?
It's being worked on.
Okay. Okay, so moving on, I think we could probably skip the workshop tonight.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Clock, yes, please.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull up a map here, and there is a property on Narrows Road that was gifted to the Conservation Commission maybe about 10 years ago. And then it was voted on at town meeting. Town meeting accepted it, and nothing came from it.
On Narrows.
Yes. So the owner of this property has talked about, moving forward with those. So it's this property here. It's at the corner of Indian Neck and Narrows Road.
That's Frog Pond, or is it Eel Pond?
We're
That's
not-
opposite what we just talked about on Narrows.
Correct. So the owner, John Deacon, has already shown interest in gifting it to the Conservation Commission and the town. The town already voted to accept it at town meeting, and then, nothing happened from there. So he's willing to, move forward with that process if the commission wants to accept it formally again. If the commission does not want to accept it, I believe Wildlands Trust was offered the property as well.
Would we be required to do a CR on it?
It would be smart.
And who would be, so we'd have to find a holder. I know you're looking in the corner.
Yes.
I'm sure you can easily walk around that for the meets and bounds, as opposed to Crab Cove.
I will say, I think there's been violations on this property in the recent past, maybe some clearing. It's something that I really never had time to look into. But I think it had more to do with people fishing in there or something.
Yeah, and there was some clearing for line of sight from a house off of Mayflower Avenue, I think, was causing the clearing.
So, yeah, not to get too far into that, but this gentleman on Mayflower Avenue had issues with people trespassing onto his property because he and his easterly neighbor technically own that pond that's there. It falls within something that's small enough that's not owned by the state, and they actually control that waterway. And I had spoken with him at the beginning of my employment here in Wareham, and he was having trouble with trespassers. While I was down there, he said the trespassers had, damaged some of the vegetation there, and that since, I think it was partly because the railway came in and did their clearing.
Yes.
And it may have been some type of clearing in this small area here. He was seeing more light from cars coming down Indian Neck Road and shining their headlights into his house. But
that corner outside is town property.
it looks like it's,
Indian Nick and Narrows, that,
looks like it's part of the road layout, yeah.
yeah, that looks like a Nike swipe, yeah. That's town-owned land.
So, again, it sounds like the property was just never transferred, but the town had already shown interest in accepting it, and it was accepted at town meeting.
Okay,
Do we have to make a motion on that?
well, if we want to discuss it, I mean, it's either owned by the Conservation Commission or turned over to another nonprofit land area if they want it, but if Mr. Deacons was willing enough to donate it and the town accepted it at town meeting, I think we just step up and finish the process and say, yes, turn it over to the Wareham Land Trust, and we'll find a holder of the CR.
You mean turn it over to
the
the
town of Wareham.
Conservation
Sorry,
Commission?
town, sorry, what did I say? I can't remember.
Wareham Land Trust?
All right, yeah. The town accepted it at a town meeting. Conservation has to follow up with that, complete the process, and have Mr. Deacus and the town go through the paperwork to have it deeded over at Plymouth County. And then we have to find a holder of a CR.
Okay, so do we need a motion?
I think we need a motion to accept,
This just came in as business. I don't think there's any rush. I think we should
put
formally
it on
put it.
put it on the next agenda, give us a chance to think about it, because you're right, it's not on the agenda, we cannot take action on it.
Right, that would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Anything else?
Let's see. I did not do any administrative approvals. And then, so the jetty at Pinehurst, you all received the comment letter at our last hearing. There were a few issues with that project. The notification to abutters was one of the issues, and the moving of the sand within the resource area was also another issue. Mass DEP, in their eyes, has determined that the abutter notification is no longer an issue. The commission has the right to accept and determine who qualifies as abutters in instances. So our acceptance of the application, if the commission so deems, would be justified enough for notifying the abutters.
As opposed to every homeowner along
Along
that whole beach area of Pinehurst.
Right.
So, okay,
And then, so in Mass DEP's eyes, they don't see that as an issue anymore. And even in their filing and the notes that they've taken, they don't see the moving of the sand as an issue anymore. Our commission can still find that to be an issue of altering the resource area. Where I left with the applicant was that beach nourishment would be required.
can we bring it back as a topic on the next agenda for final vote?
Yep.
Discussion and vote.
Yeah, so they were gonna come back with an amended order of conditions to do the beach nourishment,
So we'll
and
wait for them to come back with an amended order of conditions.
we can do that. If that's how the commission wants to move forward with this instance. I had gone out to the site and, trying to be impartial about it, I don't see any degradation of the resource area. In fact, it looks like their jetty is doing exactly what they proposed it to do to capture the sand and.
Well, it's certainly been enough storms to test it.
Right. You know, there is a larger issue out there as well, which is there's a broken outfall from the stormwater basins in Pinehurst that goes right into that beach as well.
At the end of the road?
No, this is actually, let me get over there. There's the marina, here's Pinehurst. So, the broken outfall is from, there is a catch basin somewhere in here. And what happens currently, because it's broken, is all the water piles up here, and as it's looking for the easiest way or the lowest elevation, it piles up, and then washes down. You know, I think this is called Beach Road or something, but this is where the jetty was constructed. So what you're seeing is, you know, the town came in, we took out the steps and put riprap there to stabilize that bank, which appears to be holding very well, but the broken section, or the broken outfall, comes out through this seawall, and then it's broken right about here. And what I think is happening is you get some pretty high tides, and the tide actually pushes sediment from here into the outfall, where really the end of the outfall is somewhere over here, I think. If it's determined that the stormwater scepters are performing the way that they should, repairing the outfall might make sense to prevent erosion from there. But it's something I'd really have to talk to the DPW about to find out if it is sized
Or municipal
appropriately.
maintenance, you'd be talking
Sorry.
with Menard and them.
Right.
Okay,
But again, we can table this for our next meeting if you'd
yes,
like.
please.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
That is all I have.
Motion to
And-
adjourn?
No.
No?
We have a new addition. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And we have a little something for baby.
I appreciate that. And we had a beautiful baby boy. He is now 12 days old and lifting his head and being crazy, so
Well, 9 pounds is a
Yeah.
big sucker.
almost 10, yeah. 9 pounds, 14 ounces, so yes, he was a big boy. But thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. We have some paperwork to sign.